The NBA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Sign up with promo code NBA SGPN to get a 50% deposit bonus up to $1,000. We're also brought to you by Rebet, a new sportsbook available in 45 states. Download Rebet in your app store and use promo code SGPN. That is promo code SGPN over there at Rebet for a 100% deposit match up to $100. We're also brought to you by Rhythm. Get your 7-day free trial by going over to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM for Rhythm, the leader in data-driven picks and props. We're also brought to you by the SGPN College Football Playoff Challenge. Free to enter, and it is a $1,000 grand prize. Go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/CFP to enter today. Yes, sir. We're back with another edition of the NBA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. No me, no the voice, no the guy. It's me, really real, a villain real. Terrell Furman Jr. here at your service. And all eyes turn to Vegas for the finals of the Emiratis NBA Cup. And by all eyes, I mean, I guess all eyes. It might be a fewer eyes, a number of eyes shorter than last year, but those eyes might be watching, I don't know, maybe some college football or something. But we're still here. Our eyes are on the NBA finals of the NBA Cup, but I don't think a lot of other eyes are on it as well. Seems like, what's that get-in price? Get-in price about $90. $90 get-in price from $270 last year or something like that.
Lakers tax.
Yeah, it's definitely a Lakers tax here, which is crazy, which is absolutely insane. SGA, Giannis, this on paper should be really good. All right, you heard him. Scott Studio Reichel. Scott, what's going on?
Scotty, beam me up.
Surprise.
Yeah, doing okay. I'm looking forward to it. Should be a pretty fun game. Unfortunately, for the plays yesterday, it was a weird day. It was one of those days where the lock and dog picks didn't work out, but I feel like I got a lot right on the card. Faded the Nets. That worked out. They are going to be really bad without Schroeder. Overall, faded the Jazz. They give up about 140 points again. Unfortunately, though, had the Bulls as my lock at -1.5, and they were up 10 with about 5 minutes to go. Banked in meaningless three-pointer at the buzzer to win the game by 1. So there you go. That's how that went for the Bulls. But see Rob mentioning the largest comeback 10+ of the Nuggets game. That worked out. Crazy game there at the end. DeRozan dropped the ball. So nice comeback there by the Nuggets. Point is, though, should be an overall fun game tonight. Looking forward to it.
Just quick shout out to also the Detroit Pistons +4.5 on the money line against the Miami Heat. Miami Heat, once again, as a favorite, not getting it done.
Butler had 35, 19, and 10, and they still lost the game. That's pretty tough to do.
The fact that they even forced overtime is a feat in its own. They probably shouldn't have gotten that far, but then to have the lead in overtime and then blow it yet again, it's clear the magic of the Miami Heat being a favorite. That was clear. That was like, if there was ever, matter of fact, if you haven't watched that game, go back and watch that Miami Heat and Detroit Pistons game. Right before the game, no, earlier that day, they said Tobias Harris isn't playing. Literally right before the game, they scratched Jaden Ivey. I'm telling you right now, that game was the magic of nothing else other than the Miami Heat being a favorite. Like, there was nothing else that was going wrong for Miami other than the fact that they were a favorite, and that's why they ultimately lost the game.
Shout out to Cade, by the way,
that keeps on giving.
Who had 18 assists. Shout out to Cade.
Yeah, another triple-double for, I mean, the Jimmy Butler, Cade Cunningham triple-double would have went beautifully yesterday. That stuff never happens when I play it.
Because why would you pick a player from each team to get a triple-double in the same game?
I know. It just never happens. And then the one time that I do it, it's nowhere even close. It's ridiculous. Freaking tired is bullshit. All right. Nonetheless, hey, make sure you come check out our first annual college football playoff challenge. You can pick sides and totals for every game with the chance to win a $1,000 grand prize. Free to enter. Just go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/CFP. That is sportsgamblingpodcast.com/CFP for a chance to win $1,000. All right, Scott. Let's get into it. In Roddy's NBA Cup, we have the Oklahoma City Thunder on the road over there meeting the Milwaukee Bucks in Las Vegas. Beautiful Las Vegas. Love Vegas. We got to get back out to Vegas. It's been a while. OKC, laying 5 here. 215.5 is the total. Injury report here. And we have for the Oklahoma City Thunder, no Dang, no Flagler, no Holgram, no Jay Will. Other than that, pretty good to go. And for the Milwaukee Bucks, we have the Giannis is probable, Dame is probable.
Yeah, Giannis is probable. Okay, it's a title game. Giannis probable. Okay, sure.
Yeah, man, he's probable. Like you got to have him on the injury report, or you'll get a fine. But
do you? I mean, if he ends up playing, then he doesn't really need to be on the report.
Yeah, but if he was probable, and you just went ahead and said he was playing, and then for some reason he wasn't, fine.
Okay, all right.
It's ridiculous.
All right, sure.
It's the AD and LeBron, probable every game, and you're gonna end up playing. That's what happens.
Well, Belichick and Brady were the first to do
that. Yeah.
Brady was probable for probably like 10 straight years. He was just on there just for the hell of it.
Yeah. But there was a little bit of time that Eli was on a questionable probable tag as well.
Yeah, he had the Iron Man streak though, so he was always going to play.
Oh yeah, you always knew Eli was playing. I never worried about Eli playing a game. Back to the better days of the Giants. Didn't know we were getting an Eli Manning reference today. All right. Laying 5, OKC. Scott, it's really, really hard for me to find a good reason to fade OKC, even in situations where I can see a path for them not to win the game. It's really, really hard for me to sit here and say I think that's going to be the way that they lose. What about you here? OKC, in my view, is one of the best teams in the league going up against this Milwaukee Bucks team that I'm not 100% certain that they're a good team.
Yeah, it's still crazy how OKC's this good and Chet is still injured, which is just bizarre to me. But the point is the Thunder are the better team. I don't think it's that close. Now, Milwaukee's had a good run. I will point out, though, when Munaf and I did the Futures episode before the quarterfinals for the NBA Cup, I did give out Milwaukee, and I did have Giannis MVP. Main reason, not because Milwaukee's good, but because, damn, I thought their draw was pretty weak. Because they were playing Orlando with no Banchero and no Franz. Game turned into a war. Thought Milwaukee would win that game at home, though. Thought the Hawks were alive to beat the Knicks. And the Hawks ended up pulling it off. But I like the path for Milwaukee. So that's why I took the Bucks to actually make it to the final and why I have Giannis MVP. Well, I think they're good. Not really. They're better than they were about a month ago. But I do have questions about the overall scoring depth in this team. Lillard's been fine. But now he's injured, battling a calf issue. Now you have to deal with the likes of Caruso and Dort and Shea. Even Kaysen Wallace is a pretty good defender. And you're 500, and you're below 100% health. And Middleton can't shoot. He's coming back off the injured list. He's been passing well, playing about 20 minutes a game. Do you have faith in Milwaukee's scoring depth? Because if Giannis ends up going, let's say for an inefficient 30, he goes like
they're screwed.
I don't know, like 12 or 5. I don't think they got a shot.
No, I think Giannis has to be incredibly efficient, and he has to look like Superman. And we have to see a version of Giannis that was, what was that? Game 6 NBA Finals
against the Suns when he actually hit every free throw and he dropped
and 50-piece closeout game. Yeah, you got it. We have to have that version of Giannis because it's ultimately. I agree with what you're saying. OKC is so good defensively, second in the league over the past 5 games, really been dominant over the entire season defensively. And the fact that they can also score the basketball at one of the highest clips in the rate in the league as well. They need everybody. And I don't think they're going to get contribution from everybody. I think Giannis has opportunity to have a good game just because of the sheer size, and they don't really have anybody that can truly match up with them. We'll see what Isaiah Hartenstein's able to do today, but he's going to have his hands full because now you're looking at Giannis and Brook Lopez. I think both of those guys can have pretty solid days. Maybe some Bobby Portis off the bench as well in the second unit and taking advantage of small ball OKC that they like to play with sometimes. So maybe Bobby Portis can have a big game too. But I think the backcourt, the guards, like everybody else, I really, really think they're going to struggle today. Dame might be in the torture chamber, so that's going to be really, really tough here today.
And Dame's injured, so injured while being in the torture chamber is double the pain.
Yeah, it's not good looks at all here. So I mean, if Giannis was to have a crazy efficient day, score way over his points, rebounds, and assists, I think he needs to have an efficient 35 to 40 points.
Yeah, that's how I feel.
And he still gets somewhat contribution from the rest of the team in the scoring, then yeah, I think that OKC can be in this game. That feels like a lot. Feels like a lot to ask, man. I'm taking OKC. I'm laying a 5.
I think you think Milwaukee could be in this game.
I mean, yeah, Milwaukee could be in this game.
Now, I feel like, once again, it kind of ties into what True's asking me about Middleton 2+3s. Middleton hasn't scored at all since coming back. He's been playing 20-plus minutes. He can get you some rebounds, some assists, but it's the scoring depth. I mean, you're relying on 3-point, I'd say, ancillary pieces. You have A.J. Green. A shout out to Derry Bird. Good nickname. You have Gary Trent Jr., who we know is a 3-point specialist. That's basically it. You're relying on a couple of potential role players to be the X factor in the game, but if you think Dame's going to struggle offensively, Middleton's giving you really nothing. Lopez has been quite underwhelming offensively for the last week or two. How many options do you have? So, and Jackson can't shoot.
Chris Middleton from, let's see, Chris Middleton scoring the basketball, coming back against Boston, 2 for 10, 3 for 8 against Brooklyn, 0 for 2 against Orlando, 2 for 7 against Atlanta. And from the 3-point market, 1 for 3 Boston, 1 for 3 Brooklyn, 0 for 1 against Orlando, and 1 for 5 against the Atlanta Hawks.
So far this season, he's shooting 25.9% from the floor and 25% from 3. Now, I know he's going to get better as the season goes along, and he clearly just came back from injury. My point is, if your third best player is severely compromised, Lopez might have a bad matchup potentially, depending on how you want to evaluate it, with him having to cover the 3-point line, but he hasn't not really done much offensively, and Dame's injured. Like, how many guys do you actually trust to score? I think Bobby Portis can get you some minutes off the bench with some points, but you have Giannis, maybe a little bit of Dame in there, maybe inefficient from Dame, but still, and Bobby Portis. OKC's got a bunch of guys. They have a lot of high-quality players that can score, that can also defend. I think it's a bad matchup for Milwaukee. Now, of course, I hope I'm wrong because I got Giannis to an MVP of this competition, but I think OKC's the much better team. I don't think it's really close.
I feel like you're in such a good situation. Jesus Christ.
Well, am I in a good situation? Because if OKC wins by 1 to 4, I'm screwed. But I think OKC should cover.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I'm at. But if you're asking my thoughts on this game, I think Milwaukee offensively is going to be in serious, I'd say, trouble for most of this game. I think Milwaukee defensively has been better, but I think OKC can find some ways to exploit this defense. Is Middleton at his usual defensive self coming off injury? Not really. We know Dame can't guard anybody, and he's dealing with an injury. Are you just going to force a bunch of switches with Dame and Shea? Because it feels like that's kind of the game plan for OKC, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I would have Shea just go off, especially because now he can also claim this MVP that was, this is like the what's the word I'm looking for, Scott? It's the consolation prize.
Yeah, okay.
You didn't get your MVP last year. You didn't get your NBA Finals last year. Kind of blew it in that second round. But
you could argue it helps with the resume. Maybe he goes, oh yeah, he won the NBA Cup.
Yeah, won the NBA Cup. He has an NBA Cup MVP. Like, as you go on through the rest of the season, you're like, hey, now I'm making another case for MVP yet again. Yeah, I think SGA goes off.
For the record, if the Thunder win, it doesn't matter. Shea's getting MVP. Like, it really doesn't matter. But the point is, he can put the nail in the coffin for Milwaukee. I'm gonna ask you, because OKC was able to beat the Mavericks. I know PJ didn't play. They dominated the entire game. Played Houston. Slow start, kind of dominated the second half. Houston's been fine. They're, I believe, second or third in the Western Conference. Milwaukee, yes, I know Atlanta's played better. I think Milwaukee's kind of at a cakewalk through the entire bracket. Is that fair?
Yeah, and yeah, I agree. I don't think that they've had it's definitely not as strong as a road as OKC played. And as watching the games, it's like it's clear cut watching the games. OKC is clearly playing better in their games than Milwaukee is playing in their games because one, that Orlando game was without Franz Wagner, and
And that was
yet
still a sweat.
they were down in the fourth.
Yeah.
They were down in the fourth. They didn't have a lead. So I mean, Atlanta's Atlanta. You know how I feel.
No
about
offense
Atlanta.
to Atlanta, but I think we'd all agree that the Bucks were more intimidated by the Knicks, if you had to pick. The Knicks are
Yeah.
viewed as a better team than Atlanta.
Yeah.
So I think 4.5 is too low.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think it's way too low. Laying 4.5, laying 5, whatever it is on OKC there. We'll talk about the total in just a second because Underdog Fantasy has a huge menu of fantasy projections for you to pick from. NBA, NFL, college football, college basketball, MMA, NASCAR, all of that and more over there at Underdog Fantasy. And you can win up to 1,000x with Underdog streaks. Go get some specials and some boosts. Matter of fact, Scott, I just got a 70% boost under Underdog this weekend. Do you know how insane that was? 70% boost? 70% boost and up to $500 on the boost. Some people give you a boost like that and they say, oh yeah, your limit is 10, 15, whatever. No, I appreciate you for boosting me, Underdog Fantasy. Go check your Underdog Fantasy and make sure you're boosted. And if you're not on Underdog Fantasy, make sure you go sign up with promo code NBASGPN. Claim your special pick and first time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com. Promo code NBASGPN. We're also brought to you by Rebet, a new social sports book available in 45 states. It's great for those people that don't live in a fully out and legalized sports betting state. My Georgia folks, stuff like that. It's a lot better for you to use it there. And hey, there's plenty of betting opportunities available on Rebet. Easy to use and great for those people. So download the Rebet app in the App Store. Go use that promo code SGPN for a 100% deposit match up to $100. That's Rebet, promo code SGPN. All right. Total sitting here at 215.5. I've seen this total get open at 213.5, climb up to 216, and came back down to 215.5 here. What do you like, Scott?
Yeah, so I feel like the common theme for all these episodes we've had for the NBA Cup, just bet the under. Like, I feel like the way that we've been going about it, we've made a lot of money blindly betting unders in games. Yes, the Bucks game against Orlando went over. That did, once again, that was a pretty low total.
It was like
in
a
general.
couple, yeah, it was a couple points.
I actually want to check what the record is for the over-unders since the quarterfinals. Because I want to say that Bucks Magic game's the only game to go over. Out of all the games we've had. I know both semis went under. I think the rest of the quarterfinal games went under too. So I'm pretty sure we're on a 5-1 run on the unders. I can't think of a single game that went over besides that Milwaukee-Orlando game.
Under in Golden State and Houston, under in Atlanta and New York. That's 4. Under over 5-1 run. Yeah, 5-1 run.
That's what I thought. So we're blindly 5-1 betting the under in all these single elimination games. Yeah. I'm going to go back to it. OKC defensively, I think, can give Milwaukee's offense problems, and Milwaukee has some length. OKC, though, I know that once again, Shea should be able to drop 30 in this game. He always does. Who are we kidding? But I do think that, I don't want to say Houston showed a blueprint of how to stop this team, but I do think that Milwaukee can make it ugly. I don't see much pace in this game. I think both teams are going to try to slow it down, playoff type atmosphere. But once again, when you're 5-1 on the under, backing this for the single game elimination spots, I'm going to keep riding it. Like, why would I decide not to do it? The money's coming on the over in all these games, and they're not close in all these games. So I'm going to go with the under again. Give me 215.5 under.
Yeah. Same here. That I was sitting, and that was in the back of my mind, but I didn't really like.
I had to double check it, but I was pretty sure that Orlando.
I was like, wait, that Orlando game, and it's funny because that's the under that I think that was one of the ones I locked up too, was that under. So that's funny as hell. But so hopefully I'm not jinxing this, but yeah, I like the under here.
Both games in Vegas went under by a decent amount. I mean, the Thunder game against the Rockets was kind of close to the final total. I think each of the last 2 quarters at 60+. That game was a rock fight at half. So both games in Vegas have gone well under, as far as I'm concerned.
And
I think it's too high.
I really only see this a couple of ways. It's either OKC is just completely dominant, and yes, Rob, Bucks team total under comes through. OKC wins in a rout, and they don't even get a chance to add to the total. Or we the other angle happens of Giannis is just superhuman. Nobody else really does anything, and they have a pretty solid defensive effort against this OKC team. Where you got to admit, a lot of these guys are still super duper young, and this is a pretty big game. So, like, hey, I could see both ways of this. Either way, it leads me to an under. So I like an under here as well, under 215.5.
I don't mind Bucks team total under as well. I think even if OKC routes them, you're looking at like a 114, like 99 game that's still under. Like
Yeah.
I just think that once again Orlando was able to score a bit against this Milwaukee team, but Milwaukee was able to really buckle down defensively against Atlanta, and that resulted in a very low scoring game. I think it's going to be ugly. I think OKC will once again really just showcase their defensive intensity to make Milwaukee's ball handlers very uncomfortable. And even if Giannis goes for 30 and change, they can stop the other guys. I think OKC can do that.
Mm-hmm.
I got to go with the unders. These single game elimination unders have been really just a cash cow.
Yep. All right. They've been pretty good holding opposing teams under their team total to 96, 104, 109, 92, and 106 in their last 5 games for OKC. So
I'm trying to think of a path though for Milwaukee to have a great offensive game because Dame's injured. Middleton's done nothing offensively.
It's them not caring about Middleton and Middleton having his first good game of the season.
That's what I'm saying. You need Middleton to wake up.
But you have to literally, not care. Like, you're giving Dame all your attention and you're just letting Middleton shoot. And like, that's the only way. Middleton has to have his best game.
And he might only play 20 minutes.
All right. Let's see here. We'll get to let's do some player props, Scott. Let's see here. What do we like? What do we like? I'll tell you this. I like all of the bigs for Milwaukee.
Okay.
I think if anybody is able to score on this OKC team, it's going to be the bigs for Milwaukee. And all of them are pretty scored and doing different things. I mean, we know how Giannis gets down and he can put up big stat totals overall, but Brook Lopez shooting outside the 3, a size issue. I think that he can get it easy on the inside, maybe a couple of rebounds and putbacks, maybe some assists for him as well. I like Brook Lopez to go over his PRA here, especially the threes, though. Like, I think that this can be a spot. He just started getting going from 3 again against Atlanta. I think he can do it again here and get in some good situations where he's just kind of shooting over the top of guys. Maybe Isaiah Hartenstein is on him and he's pulling him outside of the painted area, gets a good look at the basket. So I like Brook Lopez. I think Brook Lopez can have a good game. I think Bobby Portis playing against the small ball unit can be absolutely dominant if that's how they choose to play him. And he'll be able to go over his points and rebounds as well. So just go ahead and put me on a little dot by every single big by OKC. Those are probably the only 3 OKC players I'd bet.
Yeah, so I think I'm going to start off with Cason Wallace. Don't mind his rebounds at 3.5. He's had at least 6 rebounds in each of the last 3 games. He's had at least 4 rebounds in 6 of the last 8. Plays a lot of minutes, underratedly. You're looking at him playing at least about 27 minutes in a lot of games. Played at least 27 minutes in 7 of the last 8 games. But I do think that he can find some openings. OKC did a great job of, I would say, gang rebounding in the last game. It's why Hardenstein didn't have a monster game on the boards because everyone contributed.
Mm-hmm.
And Cason's been good on the rebound on the actual boards lately. But 6+ in 3 straight, and he's at 3.5. That feels too low to me. I'll go with the over 3.5 at -120.
Scott, Chris Middleton, they juiced it down, but for some reason, Chris Middleton's assist is still sitting there at 3.5.
It is juiced though, so
yeah, super juiced. -155 right now, but nonetheless, 4 games being back 5, 6, 8, 4.
Okay. I don't mind it.
I don't, especially if you're on the Milwaukee Bucks side. I know there's one guy that's a huge Bucks fan. He gets mad anytime I don't like endorse the Bucks amazingly, which is crazy. But I think he would probably be on a Chris Middleton ladder. He probably thinks that the Bucks are going to be able to score a lot here. So that's a nice play for you, my guy. Anybody else on the Bucks? If you think the Bucks can score, I'd probably play a Chris Middleton ladder.
Yeah, I think Middleton, if you're picking him to have a good game, honestly, you could even go to like the base 10 points, or if you want to go for PA. Because I'll put it this way: OKC's one position of weakness defensively is small forward. They give up a ton of points at the small forward position. They stop at basically everybody else, except for the small forward spot. So if you think Middleton wakes up, then it's a decent spot.
Yeah, I'm very, very, very tempted to just go all in on the points and assists under for Dame. Really, really, really tempted.
I thought about just points, potentially 23.5.
Wow, that's crazy. You thought about just points. I ended up settling on just fading the rebounds.
Okay.
And I got it at 7.5. It's been fluctuating between 6.5 and 7.5. I think it's down to 6.5 now. Yeah, it's down to 6.5 now. So I'm gonna still do it. I'm gonna just trust the handicap and I'm gonna still do it because Dame has been better to the number, but he's only really been better to the number in like perfect situations, going up against teams that give up a bunch of assists and bad defense and all of that. But when he plays like a really, really lockdown defensive team, he doesn't get there. Too often. And so I think this is a better spot. I loved it more at 7.5, but 6.5, I think I'll trust the same handicap and hope both numbers hit that. I just don't think that Dame is going to be one. I don't think a lot of contribution outside of Dame is happening. And then I definitely don't think Dame is going to be one of the ones that's adding. I think that it's going to be more of a lot of hockey assists and Dame just getting the ball out of his hands because the torture chamber, very, 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 very tough asylum to be in here.
Yeah, I thought about maybe fading Dort for his actual prop solely because he's going to spend all his energy guarding Dame. So I was wondering if I wanted to go for a Dort fade there. We know Shea's going to handle the ball the entire time. Dort is mostly going to be standing in the spot, trying to be a spot-up shooter. He can be a bit streaky, let's put it that way. Against Milwaukee in his career, not great, though, at actually scoring. He has had going through the numbers here. His points prop in this game, he's off a 19-piece last game, so it might be a good sell-high spot. He's at 11.5. The under's available at about minus 129. Against Milwaukee, last two meetings, he had less than 12 in both. So I think could be an option. Only attempted 7 shots in his last game against Milwaukee. So I think 11.5 might be a bit high. If you're picking Dort to spend a lot of energy guarding Dame, chasing him around, trying to deny ball, that could be an option for Dort to go under his points. A lot of energy being wasted, or being used, I should say.
Yeah. All right. Of course, I'm on SGA. That's clear cut. There's nothing to talk about there. I'm absolutely playing SGA. It's going to be MVP, so I got to play him.
I want to ask you, though, about the Portis and Lopez situation for this game, because I think that Portis actually matches up better against this team than Lopez does.
I think so, too, but I think it's just the fact that, for me, Brook Lopez, especially in these games, whether he's starting, whether he's playing alongside Giannis or not, like he just finds a way around the ball and making plays. And that's why I kind of tacked on the RA and, well, especially the A. AKC's going out there, and they are having a better shooting day. I think that Brook Lopez, who's been really good to this number, no matter what situation he's played OKC, and he's been good to this in OKC. I agree with you. I think I like Bobby Portis slightly more. But Brook Lopez just feels like a sneaky, oh, wait, look, as you're watching the game, Brook Lopez has 3 threes and he's has a pretty nice game going on.
They're sagging off of Giannis. He's open in the
corner. Like it's just kind of the ball just kind of finds him and he makes it do what it do. So I get it. I definitely like Portis a little bit more in the name flash and just knowing that he's 100% trying to score the basketball when he gets his hands on the ball. But Brook Lopez just weird Time Lord here that just finds his way around the basketball and makes a play. So I do like Portis. We may be talking about that in Underdog a little bit later. I do really, really like Portis. Like I said, I'm on all 3 of the bigs. That's a big play for me. All right. Well, that's about it. Let's go ahead and before we get to our lock dog and underdog lineup at the end of the show, I got to talk to you about mybookie.ag. MyBookie's been running SGPN for years and they're back with a new and improved website. So love to have them. They have a whole bunch of props. You can get down on some Bobby Portis or some Brook Lopez or some Giannis or any of that over there at mybookie.ag. And they got the live dealer casino as well in case you're a degenerate like Sean Stacking Money Green, where, hey, little peek behind the curtain. I'm not going to lie to you. Anytime you may be sitting around hanging out with Sean and you're not doing anything, if you look over his phone, he's probably playing mobile blackjack. Like there's a good possibility he's playing mobile blackjack. So nice little peek behind the curtain of SGPN there. Sean, big mobile blackjack guy. Head over to mybookie.ag, promo code SGPN for a 100% deposit match up to $1,000 plus a $10 casino chip. That's mybookie.ag, promo code SGPN. We're also brought to you by Rhythm. Rhythm, a proud partner of SGPN, number one AI-powered sports betting platform. MIT data scientists help build this platform, give you the whole 9 yards, and helping you decide your bets for the day using the power of data. Let's go here and let's see what else they got cooking up for the day. And I like this one because it leans into my role players on OKC are trying to get to the money, and this is a sizable amount of money that I think they're all going to like. And this is a role player that we both love, Isaiah Joe, over 9.5 points, rebounds, and assists. Rhythm has him predicted for 12.9, 87.4% win probability here. He's had 25, 22, and 15. 3 of the last 5 games, he's been able to go over this number. And thank you, Rhythm. Appreciate the play, Isaiah Joe, over 9.5 points, rebounds, and assists. All right. Here we are, Scott. By the way, I just want to throw out there, Scott, that Braun Breaker likes the under as well. Just Braun Breaker system, all of that.
How's Braun Breaker been doing?
So it's been a little, I think he's been on a little bit of a downslide, and it's probably because we started out so hot and now we're getting back closer to that 55, 56%. Yeah. So he's been sliding a little bit, but still all faith in the young guy. All faith in the young guy, be able to get this done and elevate his career. So make sure you go check out Rhythm, build your own model, 7-day free trial over there by sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. All right. Let's close things out, Scott. Lock, dog, underdog lineup. I think we flipped the mojo. I think it worked too.
I don't remember how it went.
I don't remember. Let's just do it again and then we'll track it this time.
Sure. So for this one, for the lock, I'm gonna stick with what isn't broken. Give me the under at 215.5. As much as I want to make a case for this game being different, it's a 1 game off. It's going to be, once again, elimination game, title at stake. I see a pretty similar story to the semifinal matchups. Just rock fight, physical defense, refs letting stuff go. I see a pretty ugly game. I think OKC defensively can once again potentially hold Milwaukee to under 100. Not saying they're going to, but they could. It wouldn't shock me. Give me the under. Don't fix what isn't broken. That's my lock at 215.5. For my dog, I mentioned before, I liked Case and Wallace rebounds, but I do see a player performance double on FanDuel. Case and Wallace 4+ rebounds and the Thunder to win, plus 156.
All right. 156.
Yeah.
Nice. All right. Lock. OKC -5.
Okay.
Not going to question that.
I could have done that too, but I wanted to save the OKC part for the dog.
Yeah. I'm not going to question that. OKC -5. For my dog, I mean, this could be considered a hedge, or this could be considered me completely greening up on the situation. But man, I'm extremely tempted to just go ahead and just back Giannis everything, man. If anybody does anything, it's Giannis.
Well, how high do you want to go? Because his points are at 29.5.
Probably a points and rebounds combined play.
Okay.
And see how high can we do that. I don't want the assist in there. I know that for fact. That's just cheating me.
There was a chance OKC also lets Giannis go crazy, stops everybody else, and still wins the game.
50 plus is plus 255. What is that? That's 30 and that's 30 and 20, 35 and 15. 35 and 15 actually sounds doable.
It's a little high though against this defense, but
yeah. But man, if Giannis isn't, I mean, who's stopping him? Okay. Or we could go for a Bobby Portis double-double angle.
Well, I was going to say, you could get 47.5 for Giannis PR at plus 164. It's not 50, but 47.5, a bit more.
So I'm penciling him in for 15 rebounds. So what's that?
Wait, so then why don't you just take the rebounds? His rebounds are at 11.5. You can just take an alt on his rebounds.
What's the What's the 13, 14? Ooh, 14 is plus
If you
155.
think he gets the 15 rebounds, then I don't know why
15
you
is plus
overcomplicate it.
235. All right, fine. We'll go with the Giannis rebounds. I'm just trying to save myself in case he has a 40-point burger and he gets like 10, 11 rebounds. I was trying to do the save, but you know what? You're
the
right.
one you think he gets 15, so I'm just saying that's
Yeah, I
pretty
know. I
far
do think
below.
he'll get to 15. All right, fine, Scott. Fine, Scott. You're making too much sense. 14 at plus 155, or yeah, we'll just do the 14. All right, 14 plus 155, but I'm taking that to 15. 16 is what? Giannis has had a 19 rebound game against this team before, and 18 is plus 850. Yeah, I'm laddering Giannis rebounds today because he could literally just do everything, and it could be that bad. So, all right, 15 plus. Well, the bottom rung of the ladder, by the way, is over 12 and a half at plus 105. The top rung is plus 850 at 18. I will split it down the middle and call it 14 at plus 155 for the dog. All right, underdog. Let's see here. I was very close to the Bobby Portis double at plus
Well, we'll
285.
go start off with a basic one. How about just Giannis default rebounds?
Ooh, I have a 50% profit boost. Thank you.
We'll do Giannis default rebounds like 11.5.
Okay.
Because I agree with you about the rebounds, but
it's a little bit of 0.89. They took a little
fine.
bit from us there.
It's fine.
Let's see here. I do like the Isaiah Joe play from Rhythm.
Okay. That was PRA, right?
Yep. 9.5 PRA. He can get
I'm trying to think
multiple ways.
if you like Joe to go higher, does that mean that you like Dort? Like, I'm trying to think of who would connect with that. I mean, I mentioned Dort lower anyway because I think he's going to be spending all his energy guarding.
I mean, it says 17.5 points, rebounds, and assists. I'm fine with that.
Yeah, okay. We can do that.
Yeah. Dort lower.
No.
All right. Wow.
We always like having a lower in our lineup.
All right. So that will be Giannis higher, 11.5 rebounds. Isaiah Joe higher, 9.5 points, rebounds, and assists. And Lou Dort lower, 17.5 points, rebounds, and assists. Scott, that's going to get you 5.34x. But if you're like me and you got that 50% boost, 7.51x over there, Underdog Fantasy. Make sure you use that promo code NBA SGPN. NBA SGPN, and check it because you might be boosted. You might have that nice 50% profit boost in there. All right, Scott, anything else for people before we get up out of here?
Yeah, for the update on the schedule, there are no games tomorrow. So probably not going to have an episode. I guess there's a chance in theory we could do a futures episode, but probably not. So point is, keep that in mind. We'll back for this podcast most likely Thursday.
Very much so. With that, he's at Right Show Radio. I'm at __. Make sure you give us a follow on X at SGPN NBA as well. YouTube.com/NBA Gambling Podcast. If you're not already subscribed, drop a like and a comment in the comment section below. Give us a 5-star rating wherever you get your podcast, Apple, Spotify. We really need those. Really, really appreciate it. And we do have a bounty out for those ratings. If you give us a 5-star rating, we have bounties out. And the bounties will be up at the end of the month. So make sure you go get that done. And we'll be able to get you a gift card or some merch or something like that. So please help support the podcast with that. Scott, I don't have anything else to say. Nothing else to do. No other way of ending the podcast. Just going to like this. Man, Doc Rivers really told somebody that he needs to go see his throat guy. That's insane. I'm still on that. We're out of here.